Good morning.
Good morning. Dum dum dum. What an auspicious day. What do you say?
Oh yeah, this is going to be. I've been looking at this now for a week, and as the Confederate, we'll see if I can stretch this out to turn 70.
I have every confidence in you, sir. But before we get into all of that, all of the big stuff, let's talk about all the minutia. First of all, you're doing well. I take it just by your tone and everything's good.
Yeah, everything's as good as it can be when you're my age. Things are breaking down left and right.
Same. I got a twingy muscle in my back here. Well, first let me do the pleasantries. I want to welcome with great honor all of you out there that have been waiting these last 6 months of we've played through all the basic scenarios for Thunder on the Mississippi. It is now time. This is it. We are now embarking on our first playthrough of the campaign game. In this first game, I will, as usual, be taking the Union first, and we will go through as long as it takes. We're going to do these in 2 hour segments, which means that Roger and I will get together every Sunday. We will record for about 2 hours, more or less on the nose, however many turns that takes, and then I will edit it down and release it in episodic format. So, depending on how active a turn is, we could have one turn or two turns. I suspect in this first session here, with all the talkie and the setup and things, I based on the rules, it looks like, and what we've seen in the basic scenarios, these first few turns could be quite brisk. We may get through three or four of them in this first session. Don't know. We don't put any kind of limiter or governor on us. We just go for the 2 hours and see how far that takes us. So it's very relaxed, enjoyable, and that gives all of you time to watch, react, and opine out there on what you thought for this. And the standing request for us going forward is we love to hear all of your feedback down in the comments section. So please do not feel shy. Go ahead and put your opinions out there. Tell us what we did wrong. You are our official goof watchers. And if we goofed a rule or something, either in the basic game rules or in the scenario rules, hopefully you're playing along with a copy there because they're available on the Multiman site. Go get them. If you see something we did wrong, we will love to hear about it because then we can hopefully retroactively fix it if possible. If we're too far removed from it, well, we can't. But do let us know. The only thing we ask is that you just avoid any strategy advice from that point forward. Don't say, hey, don't forget, you can go around this way or that way. Just, keep it to yourself and see if perhaps we follow what you think we're going to do or we don't. That's quite possible. That's what the fun of this game is. I could totally miss a possibility out there, and I know Roger will, and he and I will kind of keep it close to the vest. And if it doesn't break the game, then we go, haha. Remember, Napoleon said, never interrupt your opponent when they're making a mistake. So, before I delve into all of the scenario specific stuff on this, this is now our fifth big advanced game scenario that we've done. Do you have any thoughts on this? I had to make notes. I know some of you say, Patrick, you're never prepared. That's true. This time I actually had to make some notes, and I wanted to go through some big things. We'll talk about everything. So, Roger, putting you on the spot, what do you like about the campaign games for great campaigns?
What I like is I think they've done a nice job to put you in the situation as the Army commander dealing with the problems of logistics in a very abstract way and dealing with time and do get now to work with the fatigue management of your army, your exhaustion. You have to pulse, go fast to go slow to go fast, and when to time it. And then, of course, how often I've sat here and just prayed for rain or prayed for it in the terrain. I mean, you're just looking up, I've caught myself looking up at the ceiling going, oh, please rain today. And I think that's what I've liked about the campaign games. Some people don't like that aspect of it because they feel like you have a great plan and the plan falls apart because of the randomness of the dice. But that's the randomness of what those generals had to face. So that's what I enjoy about the campaigns, and I think they do a nice job for each campaign of adding enough. And sometimes people complain there's too much, but I think they generally have done a really good job of the ones we played of adding just enough of the extra rules to make it campaign specific. And I was not prepared, so that's just off the top of my head.
See, and that's the great thing about it. You and I know each other well enough, I think, playing this that I'm sitting here looking at my list of things. I was like, well, he said that check. But I wholeheartedly agree with you, Roger. I think people ask me all the time, new players especially, that feel the advanced campaign games are very daunting. They are not. They're just longer and they're far more detailed, and there's a lot of little moving parts, but these are all moving parts that you encounter in the basic scenarios. You just have to perhaps extrapolate your thought process out a little farther. So when people ask me, you have 20 people ask me, and I will tell them 20 times that my favorite way to play great campaigns is any advanced campaign scenario. Some of them are very, very, very long and very detailed, and I'm looking at you. Atlanta is ours. You're probably the worst offender, but now they have a lighter version of it that you can go through, and on to Richmond. But people really love the entire possibility, and I think it's 120 turns of the Peninsula campaign. And if you really want to do early 1862, that is par excellence. That is the one you want to go through. You and I have had great fun with everything from my favorite, the Maryland campaign, which is can go in so many different ways. We've finished the Overland campaign most recently, and the Burnside Takes Command, which is compact. But this one, I think, is probably, from when I've scanned the rules, it's on par with Hood Strikes North. I think it has an approachability that if you are a new or a moderately new player, this is actually not nearly as daunting as some of the other ones that you'll encounter. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But the reason I love the campaign games is the challenges of random events that Roger said, logistics, and I actually break down logistics and supply as two different things. Logistics is just like, I got to get these damn units moving across this road network at the optimal way. So that's kind of doing that. Supply, I think, is every 5, 10 turns, whatever, depending on the title. I gotta feed them. I gotta bring them the beans and the bullets, and I have to be thinking about that in the interim. About, okay, let's see. Do I have a bridge here? I have to guard the rear supply line. Ooh, do I have wagons? All of that stuff. So now that's just floating around in the back of my brain, and you gotta be aware of it. Whereas in basic games, you don't. We usually have naval operations here on the Mississippi. In this title, we will have naval operations. So we have an additional set of things in our toolkit that the Navy can bring to bear for whatever it is we're going to be doing. But the big thing is you have to balance your long-term strategic thinking with the turn-by-turn tactical thinking of like, all right, this turn I just want to get across the river because it might rain tomorrow. So you have to be really focused on that. But at the same time, why do I need to be across the river in 5 or 10 turns so I can set up the supply so that I can approach Vicksburg, etc., etc. So you really do need to put on both hats. You've got to think moment to moment, but you've got to be planning. And I'm terrible. Terrible. Capital T, terrible. Roger knows this. You all know it watching this. I'm terrible at strategic thought. So I'm like Khan. I'm sitting there just I want to get Kirk, and Spock says, well, he demonstrates two-dimensional thinking. Absolutely. That's me. I just want to get in there and do what I need to do. So blunt force is usually the way I go. But it also teaches me patience. I don't have to do it this turn. I don't need to push that unit to 3 or 4 fatigue. I can just kind of lay up, reassess it tomorrow. If it doesn't rain, then I've got options. So it does force me to just slow down, think about what you're doing, and try to see the big picture. Few games do that. This is one of the games that does force me to do that. If you put me in front of a chessboard, forget it. I'm done. Roger, with your chess background, that I think is a skill that you bring to this game that if I didn't have the random events on my side, I'd just be toast most of the time. But be that as it may.
I think that's true. Yeah, that was an excellent point about saying that the day-to-day getting, you set some goals and you need to, if you achieve that goal early, that's okay because now you can take that chance to recover. And it can be just as depressing to sit there and have a unit that you need to get 7 hexes or 8 hexes and you roll 3 ones in a row. And now you're sitting there, go take him to fatigue 4.
Right. Yeah.
just get across that bridge. But boy, you better get across that bridge because I've learned that waiting with you, if I need to get across a bridge, I'd better get across that bridge on that turn because you're going to destroy it and it's going to rain and I'll be stuck.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm looking at this title, and I keep scrolling up and down the map, just going, there's so much destruction that needs to happen in this advanced game, because in the beginning games we start off, I think all of them with these ferries and bridges destroyed. I think at the get-go, this my memory tells me.
Yes, the countryside is open and available for the Union, inviting them to come say hello.
Yeah, and the options now for you are wide open, and I think that's very different. Again, what I like about the titles is you're not sitting here necessarily thinking I want to fight a big battle. You're thinking, okay, how do I slow you down? How do I funnel you to go where I want you to go? I'm not sure where I want you to go, which is part of the problem right now that I'm having scrolling around the map. But yeah,
It certainly invites you to interact with the terrain and the map, because up to this point, everything,
yes,
in basic scenarios is like, okay, you could just forget crossing the Big Black River because all that stuff's done.
yeah.
Now Roger has to affect that change himself, as the defender. So those decision points come like, okay, how early do I dedicate a force to go up there and burn that bridge? Can I burn that bridge? How many attempts will it take to burn, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all of that becomes fluid in nature and adds to the excitement because you're watching there go, oh, he's just going to march up and destroy that ferry. Maybe, maybe not. All he can guarantee is that he's blocking the ferry. So I love the interactive nature. The map becomes a living, breathing part of this game in the advanced campaign.
I think this is an approachable title. I do understand for new players, it took me a long time to play a campaign, solo even. It was Stonewall Jackson's Way. That is the first one I did solo, and then I think the next one I did was you're playing you in Hood Strikes North. So it did seem awfully daunting. And a lot of the rules, there are a lot of rules, and in most cases, it's not a big deal if you forget one at a certain specific point in time as a new player. Don't feel like, oh, God, I've completely screwed up the game. No, probably I'll just throw that out there.
Yeah, I mean, you got to try it at some point, and if you don't like it, you don't like it. You could stick with the basic scenarios, but far more excitement and fun and enriching experience, I think,
Yeah.
is through these. So take that as you will from a couple of guys that you listen to on YouTube, whatever. So I think I'm going to pivot over to, we're going to talk about the scenario itself. And what's nice about this is I really appreciate in this particular scenario setup is that it's almost like a programmed approach where the rules are laid out in such a way that's like, okay, turn 1, here's your limitations, turns 1 and 2, here are your limitations, turns 1 through 5. So I think what we're going to do is I'm going to set the stage for us, and then I'm going to let Roger go through some of the special rules. We are certainly not able to go through all of the advanced campaign rules like forts and supply and all that stuff. That's for you to follow along. So if you've got a copy, as I said, go get a free copy of this on the Multiman site, download it, and what we will do as a practical part in this first game is, as you know, we like to think out loud for the most part. But as we're doing some special operation like bridge building or amphibious landings, whatever, we will explain that and we'll go through that rule that first time for you so you can kind of get an idea of what's going on if you're not following along. But in the scenario rules here, I'm going to have Roger read through, I think, just 1 through 4 because that's the one that covers turns 1 through 5,
Yeah,
which probably what we will get to this time and next time at the most. And then we could deal with the 6 through 15, which is farther on down, and all that stuff that won't even be germane to the game until I get much farther miles behind me. So, would you agree with that?
yeah, there's very little reason for us to talk about Union siege operations at this point because that, as you go through the sequence of play, that's going to be, no, it's not under siege.
Exactly, yeah.
So, yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Otherwise, we'll be talking, this will be 2 hours.
Right, yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, we're at 16 minutes now, but I want to get us playing here pretty soon.
Yep,
here we go. Scenario 12, the Vicksburg Campaign. On April 30th, 1863, Major General Ulysses S. Grant, commander of the Union Army of the Tennessee, ordered more than 20,000 of his men to cross the mighty Mississippi River and land on the east bank at a remote settlement known as Bruinsburg, 35 miles southwest of the rebel stronghold at Vicksburg. Grant's surprise maneuver caught Lieutenant General John C. Pemberton's Confederate Army of Mississippi more than 30,000 strong and dispersed over a wide area of western Mississippi, unprepared to face the lightning stroke Grant was about to unleash. One of the most extraordinary military campaigns in American history was about to begin. As I said, I will be playing the Union in this one, so I am Grant, Roger is Pemberton, and eventually Joseph G. Johnston in this scenario. I will turn this over and let him go through the special rules up to that point, and we will talk about victory conditions right after that.
And I like to give great kudos to the designers on this one. The very first special rule is they have a section 19 that has you go through an entire setup sequence, so it's nicely laid out. If you're just setting this up on your table, you'll have little markers on each turn to tell you, okay, now this comes into play, now this comes into play, which is really nice. The game length is 70 turns, April 30th to July 8th, 1863. So up to after the Confederates have surrendered in historical time. The game may end early, which is Special Rule 19.3. And this is if once Patrick has taken Vicksburg, he may decide the game is over if he has enough victory points. As I mentioned, they have a nice special rule where they lay out all the startup, but I think Alberto has pretty much covered us when I was checking that yesterday. Turn 1, we skip leader transfer. Both of us. I get the first 3 initiatives. We each get 1 to the movement allowance. The Union units may not enter hex W225, the Windsor Indian Mounds, though they may retreat into the hex. If the Confederate unit enters W225, this restriction is immediately lifted. And for people who are asking why that is historically, the Union was not aware there was a road there until they'd been there for a couple days. That's why that's a restriction. That's an historical piece there. Union leader McPherson and Infantry Division Logan A may not activate on turn 1. Turns 1 and 2, the Union player may not conduct grand assaults. The Union player may not build pontoon bridges. Some Confederate unit leaders may not activate on turn 1, and turns 1 and 2 are released from this restriction if a Union unit has crossed or attacked across the Bayou Pierre or Little Bayou Pierre rivers, which is this through 1 through 5 turns. Units may not entrench. Union units get a special -1 extended dice roll modifier in addition to the other modifiers. We play with that quite often in the basic scenarios. We just have to remember it. All Confederate infantry units belonging to Bowen's and Loring's divisions, as well as Tracy's and Reynolds brigades, and all substitutes detached from these infantry units, may be selected in an activate leader or assault action initiated by leader Bowen or Loring, even if those units do not belong to that active leader's command. And those may transfer and attach to any participating unit. However, if in the leader transfer phase of turn 6, they have to be sent back to their units that are actually in their command. So I think that's what we wanted to cover today.
Yeah, I think that will at least be the umbrella over whatever we're doing here. Like I said, we may get through 5 turns today. I don't know. Maybe. I think I only have essentially 1 corps, and McPherson's corps hasn't even arrived yet for the most part. So probably not doing a lot of movement. We shall see. One thing I did want to point out, it's not listed here. It is one of the special rules involved because it's pertaining to one of the victory points conditions is the requirement that Roger has at least 3 manpower in and around Vicksburg itself.
Yes.
So it's not listed here anywhere that I can see immediately, but right now he's got a lot up there, right? And it's got to be manpower, not combat value. So in this case, Shoup would meet that requirement if Stevenson and Barton were to leave. Shoup has to have those 3 manpower in, and it could be collected among multiple units as long as they equal 3 manpower in and in any of these forts surrounding Vicksburg. And that's like a token force just manning the defenses there. The reason why, because then that potentially, if that is not maintained, then the Union will get some points later on down the road when that's evaluated. But just to point that out, and I think Roger is probably already keenly aware of that because the Shoup ain't going anywhere for a bit. Let's transition over to the victory point schedule. And for a campaign game, I have to say this probably has the most straightforward, simplest victory point schedule that I've seen in quite a while. For the most part, there's no county control to sweat out. Hooray! I don't have to sit there and park a unit into a county seat and just wait for every 5 turns for him to collect points. None of that is important here. All that matters is Fortress Vicksburg. Okay, that is the primary accumulation of points in a variety of ways for the Union player. So the big one is the most potential points is the first time a Union unit enters Vicksburg itself, the city hex. Then what you will do is calculate whatever turn you're on and subtract that from 100. So let's say I did that on turn 30. Nice round number. That means that I would get for that 70 points. 30 from 100 is 70 points. So that would be there, and that cannot be taken away from me if he gets bounced out. That's just the surprise, I guess. So I put that in there and I bank those points. The second way to do that is if at the end of the game I have a unit in Vicksburg. If I'm still holding it at the end, then I'd get an additional 15 points on top of whatever from the initial capture point. And then the final way is if at the end of the game I fail as the Union to achieve Vicksburg, then I will count up on our victory point schedule. We have a new marker here called the Vicksburg Besieged marker. And if I can put a siege upon Vicksburg, then I will get points for the number of turns. I think multiplied by a half. So if I did it for 20 turns, then I'd get 10 points at the end of the game
Yes.
just for having a siege on there. And that's not nothing, but it's not exactly what you want. There are different ways that Vicksburg can fall. It can be voluntarily or involuntarily sieged into submission. Roger could just say, "Here, have it," and there we will certainly address that if that becomes a thing down the way. We will be doing siege checks and to see if they submit, just like Harper's Ferry does in earlier games, or if Roger sees that it's just untenable and he can better use those forces elsewhere, then I will get points based on the manpower that is surrendering at the time, divided by a certain amount. I will get those points as well. Otherwise, it's what you would expect from an advanced game. Railroad stations become important. Jackson becoming the most important. It's a vital rail hub here between the Southern Railroad and the Mississippi Railroad up along the Pearl River. So those stations become important. Jackson, Clinton, anywhere where you see the little red marks, Midway, stuff like that, along the stations, I can get points. 15 points for Jackson, all the way down to lesser degree, all the way to Tougaloo, things like that. So if I want to go out and just destroy railroad stations, I can get some points for that. And then the one I mentioned, for each turn that Roger does not keep the requisite number of 3 manpower in and around Vicksburg, the Union will get 2 victory points for that. So he can, if needs must, bring those forces out, but for every turn that he doesn't do that, then that starts accumulating points for the Union. We do have Union depots in this one. Those will not come into play until much later when we start having supply phases. So turns 5 and 10, I'll start putting Union depots in these places. I'll have wagon trains, things like that. If Roger can destroy one of those, that's minus 10 points for the Union. That would not be good for me. And as mentioned, I have wagon trains. I have 4 of them that I can use to increase supply points towards some of these units in the field, but they are vulnerable. And not only does he get to deprive me of points if he destroys them, but even if the carts break down and the horses go lame and all of that stuff, I can cause my own injury by losing manpower that way. So that's this is where we go back to the logistics and the strategic. Like, this is the part I hate the most. I hate those damn wagons, because even back to Hood Strikes North, that's a real sore spot in a campaign game. And then we have, as we would expect, +1 and -1 for manpower losses. Very straightforward. And at the end of the game, for a campaign game, you would think, oh, you need astronomical number of victory points. No. The Union just needs to achieve 50 victory points for a marginal on this one, which can come from a variety of ways, either through Vicksburg siege, destruction of manpower, and destruction of railroads. So the big one, obviously, the focal point is Vicksburg points, but there are some other ways that you could approach that point. You probably won't get over the line with just the incidentals, but you do need to press in and around Vicksburg ultimately in this game. So, with all that being said, now what do you think of this, Roger?
Yeah, I was really surprised when I saw the 50 number. That seems really low. I know, though, it's been play tested a lot by Joe and Chris and others, so I think they probably came to that very realistically. I think taking Vicksburg, or at least putting Vicksburg under siege, is a requirement for you as the Union player. There's kind of and I'm sure you've seen this in the rules, just you get 15 points for destroying Jackson. And I know that that destruction of that railroad station pops up as a real positive for the Union player in some of the arrival of Johnston's army and affecting his ability to bring in his reinforcements. So there's a real incentive for the Union player to go after that Jackson depot. And that also means there's a real incentive as a Confederate player to defend it. Which is part of my strategy as the Confederate player has usually been this trying to keep my army in these where I'm the defending player is to keep them together and look for that opportunity to destroy a wing of the Union Army as it's coming at me. But now I've got the problem that they had, which is I've got need to defend to the west and probably have to defend to the east. That idea of staying together may be an impossibility. As that's just in terms of my trying to think this through is how I'm going to try to play this.
Yeah, well, looking at it, just based on as you said the Jackson stuff there, I think it leaves very little wiggle room for a historical play. I think the Union is not compelled, but certainly invited heavily. Like, hey kid, Jackson, to do
Yes.
do what historically Grant did was try to get the bulk of the force up there, deal with Jackson first, and then come west. Now, the other factor is that we did not have in the basic scenarios because so much of it was hand waved was exactly this. All of the stuff along the
Yes.
southwestern part of the Big Black is like, well, if I get my dander up and I start making that left turn early and just kind of cutting in much sooner than you would expect, now I've gone ahistorical. How do you react to that? So I mean, so many factors will be in front of that, but you have so many ferries and bridges across there that you've just got to deal with, knowing that I could sneak in that way. I love it. It's as I say, delicious.
I think historically, and I meant I should check this before I say it out loud. I believe Grant they did I think get a bridge across where Harkinson's bridge was, which made think that that's exactly what Grant was going to do was push up from there. So he kind of got fooled when Grant then instead turned east and went after Jackson.
Yeah, overcommit
Uh,
exactly.
and he overcommitted trying to block what he thought was going to be an advance from the south. Yeah, that's what I was looking at too. Was man, they get if you can get up there, it's like that's a short stretch. You can do it in a hurry.
Yeah, yeah, and
Uh,
and in every scenario, campaign scenario up to this point, I've been like, please give me rain for the most part. I love rain. This one absolutely. Luckily, rain is very minimal on the random event charts. And as Grant, I do not want rain, so I'm hoping for a nice
yeah,
long hot summer.
yeah, we do have heat and
Yeah,
extreme heat, and there's actually a random event of water crisis, which, in my knowledge, is new.
yeah. Well, we
And
we saw that in one of the basics, and I don't. Yeah, I don't need that. I want water to be everywhere. I just don't want too much of it from the sky. We have jibber jabbered with all the setup for the last 30 minutes, so it is now time for us to do the pre-game event. I know for many of you, pre-gaming is different than this, but this one we actually have an event that sets up all of this that gives the players a little bit of consideration before the game even starts. So I guess I will take the honor of this and and extend my own hangman's noose. I'm going to roll a d6, and we have a chart of pregame events here. And here's what we get. It's a 3. So Sherman extends the Yazoo feint. So if we read that down here, says place the Union Infantry Division Blair A in the turn 13 box as a constant reinforcement rather than turn 12. Oh, okay, so that's actually terrible for me. So I'm delaying him by one. So okay, so Blair is going to go into turn 13 instead of turn 12. So that gives you a little breathing room on him. Boo, I say. Wow, it's already starting out.
I guess the idea of that is that you could potentially do a river amphibious invasion up here in the north.
Right. Yeah, and
So if I pull these guys out of those forts, I'd have to hold on to them probably a little longer. I guess it's the yin and yang of that.
we are now, I think, ready to go with our
Yep.
first turn. You get the first three initiatives. There are no leader transfers, so all that's left now is for me to wish you the absolute best of luck in defending Vicksburg, sir.
Yep. Good luck to you as well.
Thank you.
And I get the first three initiatives, so I guess we'll start with Tracy. And he gets a +1 and an additional +1. So he'll go +2. He can go 7. So let's see. He's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So we'll take him again. Here's his movement. So that's 3 plus 1 plus the bonus. So it's 5. 2, 3, 4. I'll take him to the Hermitage. And I get one more, so we'll come up here and take Baldwin. I think I just have these 3 brigades available to me on turn 1. +2 to this roll. There you go. That's what we're talking about. 1, 2. And I think now we're at initiatives, correct? So that's fine. Okay. We'll take Baldwin again. Here's his movement. +2. And he's 2, 3. He's living up to his reputation. I don't know where his reputation is, but he's got one now.
Oh, Slowfoot.
That's yours.
Okay. We did not talk about, and we will when we get to turn 6, because it's not a factor here in the first 5 turns, is the possible end of turn on doubles. So that's always going to be fun. I love when they add that. Let's see here. What have I got? I got McClernand. His whole corps is tired from the cross in the river. Can't activate McPherson, so let's do these in detail. I think McClernand's going to activate Hovey. Yeah, we'll have Hovey go first. So he's going to go to 2, and we get a +2 to this roll. Yeah, there you go.
Wow.
Yep, that's why we don't do them all at once.
1, 2.
2, and 3. Okay, initiative. That's yours.
Okay. Well, fortune does not favor the brave. I'm going to take green to fatigue 1, and he's going to attempt to destroy that bridge, which I believe gives him he needs a 2 or less. He's going to get a -1 because it's not in a Zoc, and a -1 because he spent the entire in that march. And I think that's the only 2 modifiers that apply. So he's going to get a -2 to this roll. So that's a 5, it's a 3, so it is not destroyed. Okie doke. That's yours.
Okay. We'll activate Hovey to 3 and Osterhus to 2. So here's the movement of +2. Wow, this is awesome! And that's why I'm not moving them as a unit.
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, you taught me that. I remember the second or third game we played. I was like, you kept telling me, don't do that. You need to just take your time. You're going to get jammed up
All right, so Hovey's going to get his first extended march. This is a +1 and a -1 for this. So it's only a 6. There we go. So he's going to go 1, 2, and 3. And then Osterhaus 1, 2, and 3. Initiative. That's mine again. Okay, we'll take Osterhaus and Carr. They will both go. And here's movement +2, 6. Okay. Osterhaus goes first. He's got an extend. He flips. They're just stymied by this Los, sir. We'll go 1, 2, and it would take 4 more to get in there, and I don't. Oh, I do have it. Yeah, I've got the 6.
You do have
Yeah,
it. You
so
have it. You
we'll
had 6.
stack
So
them up.
he gets to have
Yeah.
it.
And then we will have cargo 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to there. Okay, initiative. Mine again. Let's take the last crew here. Maybe we'll go to fatigue level 2. Here's movement +2. There you go. They will go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 4 more to Car. Okay. Initiative. That's mine. Yeah, let's take them both to 3. And here's movement. That's fine. We're going to do extended marches. We'll do Car first. He's extend march. He flips. He's just going to go to there. And AJ Smith. Wow!
Wow.
Get him out of the way. Come on, use him up. Use him up now.
1s and 6s only
There
almost
you go.
on the,
All right, I know what
on
we're,
the single die
I know
roll.
what we're doing in turn 2, apparently. All right, initiative. That's mine. I will pass.
I'll pass, I think.
And we
Okay.
will end the turn. So I'm going to use the rain recovery, so there's no entrenching.
Yep, no trench.
And we'll see if it takes the turn 2 markers away. There we go. Well done, Alberto. Automation is working swimmingly. All right, I'll double check. I do have 2 reinforcements. So now, yeah, it's time for us to go through the normal process here, because we did not have a random event on the first turn, but we will starting now.
And we both lose our movement bonuses, so I'll delete the reminders, but you still get your extended march bonus.
Well, I would say that +1 helped a little bit. At least I could stack up in that Los. Let's open up our... Here we go. We did our pregame event. Let's do our sequence of play. So we have the random event phase for turn 2. I will let you have the honor of doing that first one.
So this is the May 1st through May 4th chart. I need to roll 2 dice, not 1. Sorry. It's an 8. Is Confederate MP.
Movement paralysis.
Movement paralysis. Great.
And if you'd like to review what that is for the folks at home.
Yeah, that means Union player wins all tied initiative die rolls. As you mentioned, the random end of cycle doesn't come into play just yet. The movement allowance in Confederate activate leader is the number shown on the die roll with a -2. For the non-leader, it's -1. Again, the minimum movement is 2. And I may not entrench except in Warren County, which does not apply because we're not entrenching yet in any case. So that was really, really unfortunate.
Run to the line. Which line? Okay. All right. So we've done that. Let's see if we've got anything else here. We have our leader transfers. I'm not transferring any leaders.
I have Boeing, and Loring is way up there, so he's not going anywhere. And may as well stay where he is, I guess. So I don't have any.
All right, so it is time for... We have no attachments. Double check that. Go back to our... I want to get in the habit of opening the sequence of play for people. Yeah, no attachments. It's time for the action cycle, so I'll give us our first roll on this one. Let's see what we get. And it's yours.
Well, I think the first item of business, man, is that what I want to do, though? I already have to make a decision. Hate making decisions. Could pass, I guess. Well, I'm going to give green another chance to destroy that bridge.
You can do it! But please don't!
Let me zoom in here. So again, -2 to this roll, needs 2 or less. There, that
You
did
got
it
it
that
this time.
time.
Yep. Boom.
And I guess that's it for me on that one. Initiative. That's mine. So I'll activate green for movement. And he gets him in 2. So he can go 1 and 2, and he'll stop there. Initiative.
I
That's
win the
yours. You win
ties.
all ties.
Okay. Well, seeing as you're doing that, I guess I will take the opportunity to bring Crocker onto the map. So he will arrive at Bruinsburg, and we'll just place him there. That's my initiative. That's yours.
So Tracy is eligible to be activated by Bowen. So I'll have Bowen activate Cockrell and Tracy. Here's their movement. So that's now a die roll of 6 because of movement paralysis. So we'll have Tracy go 1, 2, 3 to there. And that is a ferry. So if he attempts to destroy that ferry, it's now going to be a -2 because it's attempting to destroy a ferry, and another -1 because it's free of a Zoc. So this will be a -3 to this roll, and he needs a 1 or less to destroy a ferry.
Okay.
So that ferry is now destroyed. That's this one. So we'll drop that right there. And Bowen and Cockrell will go 1, 2, 3. He needs 4 to get into Green's hex, so he'll have to stop there. I don't want to destroy that bridge because then Green will be on the wrong side, so we'll stop there. Initiative. That's you. You win ties.
I'm going to bring Dennis on. You'll go in the stack there. The landing. Initiative. Ties. It's mine. Okay. I'll have McPherson activate Crocker and Logan. Here's their movement +1. 4. He will go with Crocker. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Logan will go 1, 2, and 3. Initiative. That's mine. We'll take them again. Here's movement. 3. Go 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Initiative. That's yours.
So I'm going to move Green for movement. Here's his extend. And he's a 5, but he's okay. There's nothing on the movement paralysis that affects extended marches. So he's going to go there, and now Cockrell will attempt to destroy the bridge, and he'll have a -2 because he hasn't moved. And it's
He needs a 1 or 2.
yeah. So he gets a -1, and you don't have an enemy Zoc. So he has a -2 to this roll, and he needs a 2 or less. And he doesn't. So that's destroyed. So we'll just clone this guy. Okay. Initiative. That's yours.
Okay. Have McLaren activate everybody. Here's movement +1. That's 5. So they will go out ahead with Hovey. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. AJ Smith. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and that's it. Initiative. That's Ty. That's mine. I'll have Dennis march. Straight move. 2. 1, 2. Initiative. Mine. Dennis will go to 2. Movement. 6. 1, 2, 3. And stop. Initiative. That's mine. I will pass.
Okay, I'll bring up the 1st Missouri dismounted. And that's an infantry unit because they don't have no horses. So this is -1. He's going to go 5. He's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to there. Initiative. It's mine. Okay, now he can be activated by Bowen. So this is just his die roll. So it's 3. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3 to there. Initiative. Yours.
What are you getting all superstitious? What? They coming to join their Missouri brothers? What are they doing? I will pass.
Take Baldwin. Movement paralysis, so he's going to lose a -1 to this roll, but he does get a min. Make sure I'm reading that
Yeah, he
right
gets
out.
min 2.
Min 2, okay. 1 and 2 initiative. Mine will take Baldwin again. That's 5 for him, so he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to Willows. Initiative. It's mine again. Okay, let me scroll up. Somewhere I've got guys here way in the back. We'll have Loring take Tillman. Here's his movement. Just his die roll. He goes 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to there. Initiative. Yours.
I will pass.
Okay, we'll take Loring again. Just his die roll. 3. 1, 2, 3 to there. We'll attempt to destroy that bridge. So this will be a -1,
-1.
2 or less. So that's destroyed. Because that just will continue to be a ford.
Yes.
Initiative. Mine. Okay. Loring's at fatigue 2. I don't think there's any need to press him. I think I've got one more unit. Yeah, I've got Reynolds at fatigue 1, but we'll take him to fatigue 2. So this is -1 to this die roll. He'd go 2 hexes. He's going to go 1 and 2. Initiative. That's yours if you'd like it.
I'll pass.
Okay, now let me see. Do I want to move? I assume you're going to attempt to try to build a bridge to there. I think that's a bad spot for him to be in. I think I'm going to pass as well
Okay.
and get to turn 3.
Sure. All right, I will hit the rain recover. Okay, on to turn 3. Moving briskly. Let's go to our... So we have a random event now. It's I think it's your turn to roll that random event. Oh, hey, you rolled the last one.
I rolled the last one.
Yeah,
I rolled
okay.
the last one.
So here is our random event for turn 3. It's 5, so we get a movement bonus. So on an even die roll, I will get a movement bonus. On an odd die roll, you will get the movement roll bonus. It will be for any unit or leader activation. So here we go. It's mine. So Union gets a +1 die roll movement bonus. Hooray!
Good for you. Good for you,
Yay!
I guess.
I need all the help I can get. All right, leader transfers. I will not transfer any leaders.
Okay. Let's see. Tell me Bowen. Yeah, Bowen's probably in the spot. Yeah, I won't transfer any either.
No attachments, so on to the action cycle. So I will let you roll the first initiative.
Okay. That's Union.
Okay. Let's see here. With this movement bonus, let's see how it helps. So I'm going to have McClernand activate the entire 13th Corps. Come on, Lucky 13. Let's go. Here's movement. It's a so one for so I get a +2 basically. So I get a 6, and they will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and everybody will just follow behind. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Initiative. That's yours.
So we'll take Baldwin first. Here's his movement. He does not have the,
Yeah, now you're right. Now you get a +1 again.
but he's just going to go 1 there anyway. He's just going to stop there. And I guess it doesn't hurt for him to attempt to destroy the bridge. So this will be his attempt to destroy that bridge minus
Just
1.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't destroy it. That's right. And he cannot attempt again.
Right.
Initiative. That's yours.
Okay. We will take the 13th again. There's movement +2. Ooh, baby.
Wow.
So let's get him over the river here. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And these all will just follow behind. 1, 8. 8. Okay. Initiative. That's mine. Take McPherson and the 17th Corps. Activate them all. Here's movement +2. 7. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Logan 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Dennis 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Initiative. That's mine. We'll take them all again. Here's movement +2. 7 again. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. 1, 2, 3, 5. He's going to stop there. Initiative. Oh, that's not a factor yet, but that is low ties. That's mine.
To Union, I believe.
Yeah. Okay. We'll take or Crocker and Logan again to 3. Here is movement +2. That's 4. Okay. And we still got a -1 on our extend, so Crocker first. He flips. That's a big boo. But he will go 1, 2, 3, and 4. Logan extend. Wow, that's what you get for hard marching. 1, 2, 3, and 4 to there. Initiative. That's mine.
Falling into my trap.
Yes. Yeah. I'm going to pass for the moment, see what you're going to do.
Okay. Good question. What am I going to do? He says. I'll have Bowen activate Let's see, he can still activate Tracy, I believe. Cockrell, and I'll take the 2 Regiment, 1st Missouri, and 1st Missouri, dismounted. So this is a +2 because I'm not affected by what you've got going on. Not that it matters, that's just dandy. So that's 3. Tracy would go 1, 2, 3. 1st Missouri dismounted. 1, 2, 3. Bowen with Cockrell. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3 to the Hermitage. Initiative. That's yours again.
Okay. I'll have AJ Smith go to 3. Here's movement. 4. Here's extended march -1. He's okay. I'll go to there. Initiative. That's mine. Alright, well, I think we'll try our first action of the game. And we'll see how kind the dice may be. So we're going to take Hovey to 3 and try just an assault with Hovey. So we need a 1 through 4. And I don't get it. Okay. Initiative. That's yours.
Yeah, we'll take the same 4 guys. Here's their movement +2. 8.
Well, that's off the table now.
So I will transfer Bowen, Tracy for now. They'll go first. So they'll go 1, 2, 3, 7. Get into low. 1st Missouri will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And Cockrell will go there. 1st Missouri will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He'll continue to go that way. 8 to there. Initiative. That's yours.
I'll pass.
So I need a Shoop covers Vicksburg with his 3, so I can move Barton and Taylor out of there. So I'll do that. Here's their movement +2. It's 8. Stevenson will transfer to Taylor. They'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to there. And Barton will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to there. Initiative. It's mine. Take now. Stevenson will take all 3 of his brigades. Here's their movement. 7. He'll transfer to Reynolds. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Initiative. That's mine again. Do I want to push those guys fatigue 3? I think I probably do. Stevenson will take all 3 of his guys. Here's their movement. 8. Stevenson will stay with Reynolds. He'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's Taylor's extend. It's okay. He'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to there. And finally, Barton's extend. He's going to flip to disorganize. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to there. Initiative, that's mine again. Of lowering, activate Tillman. So he's fatigue 1, +2, 8. Well, these guys are on fire for movement.
I'm telling you, man. I thought I would catch him sleeping, but no.
1, oops. 1, 2, 3. Problem is he's only a 2. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Initiative. That's yours.
Well, sir.
I should have moved Reynolds.
I'll continue to pass.
Let me see. That was where Featherstone was. Let me check and see. Okay, so he's Featherstone. He comes in Madison County. Okay, I can add Featherstone. He can come in E0404, which is up here. He can immediately place a railroad marker and may immediately move by rail as part of the same action as placed on the map. And he gains the number equal to his movement distance. So he gets a fatigue for coming on the map. And then he goes 3 fatigues. He can go 27 to 40. So I don't see any reason not to move him as far as he can go. So he can get to Bolton. And he'll be at fatigue 4. No extend march needed. Initiative. That's mine. Okay, let me take a look, see if I've got everybody that can move. I think I am going to take Reynolds to fatigue 3 with Stevenson. So here's his movement. 5. And here's his extend. He's okay. So they're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Just enough to get there.
Dang and blast.
Initiative. That's yours.
We shall pass.
And you know what? I believe I'm going to pass as well.
Okay. So we will continue with our rain recovery. Alright, everyone's recovered. Moving on to turn 4 now. So, let's see. We didn't have anything. No Vicksburg, no end of game, no turn. Right, pontoons. Not worried about. Turn marker. Okay. So, on to our next random event. I believe it's back up to you, sir.
It's a 6, which is probably going to be Confederate command paralysis this time. Which is...
I believe no assaults, no leader activations.
Okay, you win all tied initiatives again. I may not conduct activate leader or assault actions. I may not transfer subordinate units in the action cycle. The unit movement allowance for a Confederate unit performing a march action is the number shown on the die roll, or in the case of cavalry, which I don't have any, 2 dice. The normal +1 die roll increases. It does not apply. However, infantry units' minute movement allowance is 2. And once again, I may not entrench in Warren County.
Okay. So just movement plus a little worse, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. So leader transfers.
It'd be pretty crucial for me here because I only got 1 shot at it.
I think I'll keep everybody where they are.
Well, I guess I better leave Stevenson where he is. And Bowen where he is. Yeah, I don't have any.
Okay. Then we move on to the attachment.
Unless I missed something somewhere in the comments, guys, tell us. I think I can attach, which I think I will, get him up to a 4. So he's going to go 1 manpower, 2 artillery. 1st Missouri dismounted is going to go deleted, and Cockrell goes there. I don't think there's any reason for me not to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's
And since they're Bowen, they're also the same. If that's wrong, we'll have to rewind it. Okay, that's it
okay.
for me on that.
All right. I don't have any, so on to the action cycle. So let me roll our first initiative here. Turn 4. Ties, that's mine. Let's have McPherson activate both of his units. There's movement, +1. 4. So they will go there. And 1, 2, 3. Initiative, that's yours.
And all I can do is activate units. So we'll take Taylor, we'll activate. And he is a min 2, what the die roll is. 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4 to there. Initiative, that's mine. Take Barton. Here's his movement. It's the die roll. 1, 3, 4, 5 to there. Initiative, that's yours.
I will have McLaren will activate Car, Osterhaus, and Hovey. Here's movement +1, 5. Actually, Hovey will go first. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Car 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And Osterhaus 1, 2, 3, and 4. Initiative, that's yours.
Take Cockrell. There's this movement straight up into 5. And go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to there. Initiative, that's
Ties.
yours.
Yep.
Guys.
Okay. I will have McLaren activate the same 3. Hovey will need an extend march. Here's movement +2. Boo! Alright. Hovey first. Extend march for him. -1. He's alright. 1, 2. Carr doesn't need one. He just goes 1. And Osterhaus 1. Initiative. That's yours.
I'll take Taylor. He just gets a die roll, min 2. So he could go 2. Here's his extend. He's just going to go 1 and 2 to there. Initiative, that's yours.
McLaren takes the same 3 again. Here's movement +1. Boo! I hate you, die roller. Alright, Hovey is going to have now a net +1 because it's 2 up and 1 down.
Yep.
Okay, so net +1. He's okay. He will go there. Car's extend is just straight. He's okay. Got 1. And Osterhaus is straight. There. You suck, die roller. Alright, initiative. That's yours.
Really using the trench on the march action here. Don't think there's anything else I want to try to get done there. I'll take Cockerel again. Here's his movement. Straight up die roll, min 2. He can go 2 hexes. Initiative. That's mine. Take the first Missouri. Go 5. So I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to there. Initiative, that's yours.
I will pass.
Try the 1st Missouri again. There's his movement. Man, come on. Go 1 and 2 to there. Initiative, that's yours.
Pass again.
Okay, so you've left AJ Smith. We'll take Baldwin. 4. So go 1, 2, 3, and 4 to there. Initiative, that's mine. Take Baldwin again. You can go 5. So go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to there. Initiative, that's mine. Okay, so we've got Loring over here with Tillman. He is a min 2. 1, 2. Initiative. Him again. He goes 6. Much better. He's just going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4 there. Initiative. That's yours.
I will pass.
Just, I assume you know that Dennis is sitting back there
I do.
at Askelon Ford. Okay.
Yep.
I'll pass as well.
Perfect. And I think this may be a great time for us to finish the day because at the end of turn 5 will be our first strategic, so we may want to address that fresh
Yep.
in a
Yep.
new session.
Yep.
I am going to attempt, let's go through the steps here. Vicksburg, no. End of game, no. Turn track, okay. And then pontoon bridge. So I'm going to attempt to build a pontoon bridge with Dennis. I'm going to give him a fatigue there. And it's a minor river, and I get it. So the only modifiers I get, it's +0 because there's a road connecting all the way through, and it's a -1 for Union here in Thunder on the Mississippi. So theoretically, even if I roll a 6, I get a pontoon because it's 5 or less. Here is the roll, and I get it. So I'll go up to my HQ and take one of my minor river bridges. Oops. Shift click, bring it out, and we will put it here. There we go. And now I will hit the recover button in the rain, and everyone has recovered. Well, then like I said, I think this is an excellent. We got 4 turns under our belt, lots of movement. Well, I got the slows a little bit, but I had some. You had 2 paralyses. I had 1 positive movement. So this is where we like to look back on the session as a whole and talk about some of our opening strategic thoughts and how things went from what we wanted to do to what we actually did. So I can go first, or you can go first. Either way.
I'll be happy to go first because I really don't have much to say, I guess, at this point. You've pushed hard across the east, and I've managed to get guys in front of you to keep you south of the Bayou Pierre so far. So, not displeased, I guess. The command paralysis hurt me a little bit, and the movement paralysis a little bit, but I don't feel great because I feel like the hammer is about to drop here. I think pretty soon.
Well, I will say that you overcame the movement paralysis one by just rolling 6s on some of those things. So that was handy. For the Union, just some opening considerations. Knowing that we're automatically prescripted to be out of supply in turn 5, I didn't feel a need to protect the rear guard at all. So I did put a little unit here just as a feint because I figured we'll see if you take the bait on the potential of me building a bridge there. Dennis. Dennis is my bridge corps, clearly. So I either put him there, seeing if you would keep somebody at Coon Island Lake just to guard that space. But when you drew back, and much of that was determined on I got the movement bonus. So because I got the movement bonus and I got some excellent movement over the little bayou here
Yeah.
through the open ford, that certainly changed my tactical thinking on this one. I had to take advantage of it. Where I feel I did flub a little bit was the moment I passed, and I know Eric Brosius is out there right now going, why did you do that? Because I'm dumb, was I passed right here before you had set up the full, you had just Baldwin there, he was a 4, I think, and you had him there by himself, and what I ended up doing was what I should have done, an initiative earlier when I passed, was to bring the unit up here and make the play at 18-4, but by the time I passed, you sniffed it out and you managed to get Bowen over here to reinforce, and I would have had 4-1 plus a tactical plus an assault if all of that had gone well. But again, it's McClernand. It's always dicey. He's a 4, and the one time I did try was a 5. That's always going to be the risk that you take with him, but it kept you occupied here, which I was happy about. And then I got to offset my movement bonus. Basically, I got the same thing again with your command paralysis. Was you wanted to bring everybody here. You got Stevenson racing up to there, but you couldn't reinforce him because it's Los, and moving those units one at a time just prevented that. So yeah, it gave me the opportunity to get McPherson in play, rest him, which is really what I needed to do. I needed to get them back into organized status and see if I could bring anybody up from the 13th. And, that now gives me the option of seeing what happens early in turn 5, whether I do or don't. And I like giving myself some options there. But this has been good so far, The slows are going to happen. It's part of that whole be patient, Patrick. You're going to roll a lot of 1s. The die roller hates you. But it hates Roger equally. It hates everybody equally. You just got to take it as it comes and take those shining moments where you get the movement bonus. And I got 2 5s on that. So that's a 7 movement in a clutch through here where I needed to get across there. So I was ecstatic about that. The bridge building here, that's maybe if I end up bringing wagons this way and, potentially there's rain, I just want to have something, right, a line of supply or whatever. I have to reread all that because I don't know that it's going to be a factor until turn 10, but I need to be prepared for it. Yeah, I gave up a lot of this kerfuffle up here as prescripted as we saw in the Battle of Port Gibson in the early scenarios. I did not even make a play for Grand Gulf. I kind of think that maybe that's something I can do with an amphibious landing later on. We shall see. There's options there. So yeah, we are going to open the next session with turn 5. Right from the get-go, we will play through all of that, and then we will have our first strategic cycle, which has its own event and other logistical considerations. But I will give you the last word, sir, before we send them off for our first 2 hours.
Very interesting start, I think. Very ahistorical. I obviously chose to destroy bridges and fall back. I'm getting a little nervous that if you can push us across, I'm kind of hoping the road network will slow you down a little bit, but I'm kind of scattered. I'm not happy with that, but yeah, very interesting start. And I got to reread the supply rules as well, because I think I was holding green back thinking that I needed to do that, but now I see I don't think that makes sense. Maybe it does. I don't know.
I seem to remember something in there like the CSA is always in supply. You hand wave your stuff on that, but I don't know.
I think that's I think that's right. Yeah, I don't think there is anything with the CSA supply, but I got to check that. And the 1st Alabama.
Oh, that's a shame.
27th Alabama. They're key.
The clutch.
They're key.
That's right. All right. Well, then, folks, thank you so much for joining us here on this first session of the first campaign of Thunder on the Mississippi. We always warmly welcome all of your comments. We would love to see some interaction down there in the comment section. That's what it's for here on YouTube. If you have questions, you have comments, we will be certain to pay attention to those and to reply in kind. Just overall, you've been wonderfully supportive of the channel. If you see this video out on social media, it would be awesome if you could repost it or tell your friends about it. If they're new to Great Campaigns, this is the moment. This is the kind of stuff that they should be watching to see where they want to get to after they've gotten their first 10 or 15 plays jumping into the campaign game. And of course, I would be remiss if I did not thank all of those wonderful financial sponsors that have kicked in over the years a few bucks into the coffee tip jar. So thank you so much. Please do not feel obligated, but if you enjoy the content and you would like to see it continue, consider throwing a buck or two in there. That gives some incidental money to pay a lot of these little bills. And Roger, my friend, I cannot wait until session 2, and I hope you have a great week.
You too. I'll talk to you next week.
Alrighty, bye bye.